Welcome to Qwilr's new webinar series, where we dive into the details of things we've improved and added, and some things that are coming soon. I'm Stephen with the support and education team, and today we're going to go through some analytics improvements, both what we've already added and what's just about to launch, as well as an updated way to identify your page viewers. We're going to talk about HubSpot automations and how to make your HubSpot CRM and Qwilr talk to each other better. We're going to talk about improvements we've made to the Qwilr editor, and we're going to have a sneak peek at what's coming soon in the realm of agreements. This won't take too long, so I hope to make this short and sweet for you. But let's start by diving into our analytics. Over the past few months, we've given Qwilr analytics capabilities a pretty big upgrade. That means a brand new look and more data to track on your Qwilr pages. Today, Qwilr collects data on who's viewing your page, how long they view, and what they click on. Coming soon, you'll get much more detail on what exactly they're doing on each page and get notified about it. So let's take a look at the updated version of the Qwilr page analytics. We're going to start off right here and click on Analytics. Now, you may be familiar with the most recent updates on Qwilr, where we can see individual cards with different users, how many sessions they viewed, each of these users, one session, and oftentimes and frequently, this anonymous. You'll notice this card here has a name on it and a little handy link to search this person up on LinkedIn. We'll get to that, but I want to discuss some of the updates we've done here. First, right at the top, we've got the 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year timelines. Now, I just created this page the other day, so we're not looking too far into the past to see this, but we could see a page's overall engagement throughout these two categories. The other thing you'll notice is beyond the color wheel here, which breaks down blocks and percentages, which we've seen before and had, we also have interactions. Interactions allow us to know what level of interaction has happened. Under project management on the accordion, there were 2 interactions. So we can see what accordions were interacted with. We can see that the terms and conditions were unfolded. We can see that people checked out the ROI calculator or check out all of our case studies and clicked a button, right? Great. All good information. But this is still aggregating these 2 users. So let's dive into the user. Let's first go to this anonymous. We can see the location, roughly time spent here, but if we click on it, we can get a lot more information. Most importantly, the timeline of their activity. Now, in this timeline, we can absolutely see what they've done. You'll notice that it's done as most recent, and if we scroll down, we can see the timestamps of it. Let's take it from when they landed. So their session started at 1:27. We can see what blocks they first browsed. We can see that they went on to an accordion. We can see that they entered different block screen and keep loading up. This gives us a grand amount of detail on how much they interacted and what they specifically did. Valuable items like the conversation around the ROI calculator and changing any kind of values there. Valuable information about if they change the quote. All of this data gives you a much better idea of what their experience was going through the page. So beyond knowing that they spent 2 minutes, a decent amount of time on a proposal this size, and that they engaged with things of value like the ROI calculator and played around with the pricing of the quote block, we know that they're already considering how much money that they can spend. We can even see that they updated the quantity to their exact team size in this proposal's case. Now, you'll notice that the viewer details say anonymous. That's because I didn't have access authentication on this proposal. Now, right from here, if I notice the first analytic bit is anonymous, I can just click the button and then decide whether I want to have them enter in their name or email address when they open up the Qwilr page. Depending on the plan I have, I might have options like email verification, domain security, and password. Those have all been around on Qwilr for a while. But having the convenience of this button right here in the analytics means I don't need to load up the page. I'll show you where you can edit this on the page later in the editor discussion. That's why when we go here, we can see Mark Smith. Now, I only asked for Mark Smith's name, so a LinkedIn search is going to be pretty broad. But if I were to click this button, it would look up Mark Smith on LinkedIn. I can see that Mark was in Seattle and nearby Burien as well. I can see that he looked at the page via mobile. And again, I can go from earliest, see that his session started. I already see that up here at the top, he was only on there for 42 seconds, so maybe he wasn't as engaged as Anonymous. Also, because this is a mobile phone, for all I know, Mark and the anonymous person were the same person. In my case, I do know this because I'm the one who ran these tests, so I know that I'm the same person. But nonetheless, we can see that Mark tended to scroll around a lot on the screen. This is what happens when you go up and down, up and down, up and down. And we can see that they left the page pretty shortly after they entered. This level of information has a lot more value of understanding the little details that build context for your buyers. It's helpful when you're sending pages to multiple people and wanting to understand how each person consumes your content. But more importantly, it just gives you more data. Now, the version I showed you at the beginning, that's currently what's active. All of this is coming soon. We'll have notifications for you going to your emails to keep yourself updated. One little secret that I want to add is the fact that beyond these interactions and seeing all of this timeline, you also will be able to get notifications on this data. Because having all the data is excellent, but being able to act on it is what matters. We're adding notifications so you can act quickly when a transaction happens, someone signs, or if a process has been stalled, or even better, if someone comes back to view a proposal weeks or months later, you'll get notified too. We're also updating email notifications menu to make it more clear whether you want to be notified on every view, just the first view, or something a bit more customized. More details to come on how notifications will work very soon. So let's talk about all these changes. You can create a page and set up the collection of names, or if you forgot, like I did when I first did this, you can go here in your analytics. The moment you see anonymous, you'll have a little button right here to enable the authentication right there. You can see how each page is performing and the engagement page levels, who is looking at your page, and what they're doing. And soon after, you'll be able to be notified about all of this via email to promptly follow up with that context. This next section is about HubSpot automations. For those that use HubSpot with Qwilr, they know that there's always been an integration that's allowed you to create pages from Qwilr templates directly from HubSpot records. But what you may not know or be aware of is that we've launched the HubSpot Automations beta. HubSpot Automations are a way to get Qwilr to talk with HubSpot as your CRM and have a bit more back and forth communication based off what they pick on Qwilr. To get there, we simply go to the library and we click on Automations beta. So let's take a very common scenario. We start off with the library, which is currently blank, but we do have recommended automations. Now, recommended automations is going to have a lot here set up, but we're going to start with something a little simple, which is when a page is accepted by a client, we update the deal pipeline stage. So we click this little plus, and it automatically creates a nice title for us, which we can be like Deal 1. Accepted, right? We can name it whatever we want. We can update the description to whatever we want for context, and we can decide what to do here. So when a page is accepted by the client, we update the deal pipeline stage. So in my case, I only have one deal pipeline stage in my test account, sales pipeline, and I can update it to whatever I want, but this time we're going to say 1 because they've accepted the page. We can do multiple tasks. I can add another to action, and I could update maybe the close date. And I can go to the close date field, and it'll automatically put in the date the deal was closed. But I would then probably want to update this description and say, updates closed date, right? And then I can assign this on the template level to the template I want to choose. Let's do this enterprise sale template. So now any page I create from HubSpot with the Qwilr widget based off the enterprise sales template will have this automation automatically attached. So I'm going to click create, and then we know that it's currently on, and we're going to give it a test out in HubSpot. Now we're over here on my HubSpot deal record. I'm going to scroll down on the right-hand side here. I'm going to have Qwilr, and I'm going to create a page. I'm going to pick that enterprise sales template, click Use Template. Normally, I would edit the page's name, make sure that certain things were there. Definitely pulled in the company name. But for now, I'm just doing this to test. So we're going to click Done. And now we can see that I've got this. Now, historically, as a person, I would simply open it up and then send the link off to someone else. Once the deal is accepted, back here in our HubSpot side of things, we can see the creation date. We can see that it was moved to the closed won portion of the sales pipeline. And we can even see in the integrations activity tracker, we can see the accepted here from Qwilr, and we can see that deal activity was deal moved from contract sent to close won by integration. We can also see over here that the closed won date is recorded in this field. So now let's look at a few more things that you can do with the Qwilr automation. Your options here is are the triggers when this happens with a Qwilr page, whether it's accepted by a client, if you archive the page, if a page is expired, if a page is manually accepted, if a page is manually declined, if a page is set to draft from declined, page is set to draft from live, if a page is set to live, and if a page is set to live from declined. All of these are different page states that you can set or can be accepted by the client or automatically turn if you have an expiration date on a page. So let's say if a page is accepted by the client again. Now we can see what HubSpot can do. We've already seen it can update the close date. We've already seen that it can change the deal pipeline stage. It can also update deal line items if those line items are in the deal record when the page is created and being imported from the record to HubSpot. And it can update the deal amount to the deal amount field. This allows for a much smoother transition. And as I stated before, you can have one trigger do multiple actions. More will be added to the HubSpot Automations beta, but we wanted to get started with this and show you the already improved functionality. Just coming around the corner for this is custom forms. If you're using custom forms to collect extra details in your Qwilr proposals from customers when they accept and sign, you can now send responses you collect directly to fields in HubSpot, keeping all vital customer information in one central location. That isn't out quite yet, but it is the next step on the horizon. Let's talk about some updates in Qwilr's editor. So here's another example page. Qwilr is investing in making improvements to the Qwilr editor, and we've shipped a number of smaller updates that should make your life easier when creating pages in Qwilr. First, let's talk about flexible image resizing. We can see here that we have a nice image in line with our content above. But what if I wanted this image to go all the way across the page? Well, I can simply drag it fully wide across the page. Almost looks like a splash background, except it's a full image. Then I can do it in this medium length. I can bring it down to this more narrow situation, more in line with the width of the existing column, or I can squeeze it down to as small as I need, even this tiny, if I want to make the person viewing this squint real hard. We've also added, for those using a Chrome browser, the color picker. Right here we have an ROI calculator, and we have it with this nice little background that we see themed in this as well. I'm not a big fan of this sort of gray, green. I'm bad at identifying colors, but I don't love the look of it. And I'd like these two blocks to have a more smooth color transition. So I'm just going to click the block style icon here, and then for the background color, for the block background color, just going to click this little dropper and then select the same color as the ROI calculator. And now we see it's more seamlessly fluid with the block. The color in the background is this, and the ROI calculator has the same background color. Other little features that we've added are things like the strike through, where I can highlight a section of text and click strike through. We've added improvements to our ability to copy and paste into Qwilr from other things like websites or Word documents or PDFs, which sounds small, but can be considerably major when having to work on reformatting it inside of Qwilr. We've added the line break dividers, which allows you to just divide your content up a little bit. And probably the biggest update that we've added to Qwilr's editor over the last handful of months is the embed widget. If you haven't explored it yet, the embed widget is an evolution on what were the embed blocks, which allows you to iframe in content from other sources. So whether it's HubSpot forms or Google Forms, whether you're looking to do a Google slide deck, whether you're looking to embed things like Google Docs or Google Sheets, or if you just want to embed anything that can iframe, including just whole websites, you can put it here and still shape it with the same ability to make it ultra wide, medium wide, or streamlined and inline, or even a little bit smaller. Remember how I said that I would get back to making sure that while you're editing a page, it can be requested to have the customer enter their name, email, or both if they want to open up the link that you send them? Well, you can do that right here, right in the access settings, where you click share, access settings, and then you can choose whether you can identify them by name and email, just email, or both. A reminder, this is for our enterprise level customers. And so if you're a business user, this may not be available for you. Let's talk about a few more things that are coming up soon with Qwilr. We're improving our Slack integration, which gives you the ability to send important notifications to a Slack channel. For example, if you're wanting to be notified when a buyer signs or views a page. We're talking about more editor improvements. Our goal is to make content creation so effortlessly easy for you, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. But lastly, I want to talk about something I'm very excited for, which is embedding agreements within your proposals, which is coming soon to Qwilr. This will sit within the accept block and be embedded into the signing process of a Qwilr page. So let me show you where that's at so far in one of our test accounts. Here I'm in the editor for one of my pages. Now remember, this isn't available yet, but it is coming very soon to Qwilr. I like the accept form, and I like the ability to have multiple signees, customize questions here, and have them enter in their e-signature. But my clients like a little bit more formal of an agreement. So I'm going to take this to the next level with the agreement view. You'll see right up here, there's a little button in the accept block called Add Agreement. From here, we can choose a few templates or a blank agreement. I'm just going to include the software agreement form. Now that I've included the software agreement form, I have a more formal, contractual looking document. We have some default language in here, but you're able to edit both the title of this as well as the text inside of it to appropriately align it within the language that works for your team. And then from there, when they click agree, they'll get a form that looks a little bit more like this. You'll also have the ability to save that agreement block just like any other saved block and lock it our editing for admins, just like all of our other saved items. So you can change the title, you can change the language of the button that they click on to agree, you can change the content of this, or you can just start from scratch. Custom forms will integrate with this and ask questions alongside these, just like they currently do. There are more features being added to this, including features related to the quote block, but we'll talk about that more next time. And if you want to keep up with what's going on with Qwilr, you can head over to Qwilr.com. You can not only go to our blog, which is Qwilr.com/blog, or you can get there via the resources link in the content library, but you can also go to the What's New Qwilr page and find out what some of the most recent new features from Qwilr that are hitting the mark. Most recently, we talked about the automations library and the updates for analytics. Well, that's it for now. Do leave us some feedback and let us know what you would like to see more of. We'll be holding another one of these webinars soon and look forward to seeing you again. So right now, you can ask your questions in your Q&A and chat, and I'll go through and answer any that happen to be there. And feel free to ask as many questions as you like. I'll do my best to try to answer them until the end of the meeting, at which point you can always reach out to us.